Hey everyone, so me and Brooke had PHP, which stands for Patient Hygiene Performance for our indice project, and then we also had PHPM, which stands for Patient Hygiene Performance Modified. So we've made this board to kind of show you how we've decided to lay things out. So Brooke's going to go ahead and explain what PHP is.
Alright, so the PHP I did in blue, and so PHP, pretty much this type of indice is only based off of 6 teeth. And so the 6 teeth for PHP is going to be both of the maxillary first molars, and then it's going to be the maxillary right central incisor, and then on the mandible it's the same thing. It's going to be the mandibular first molars on both sides, and then the mandibular left central incisor, which is outlined in blue. On these, the reason why we have the facial versus the lingual down here is because on the posterior teeth on the mandible, we're only looking at the lingual aspect, whereas on the maxillary, we're looking at all facials, and then the mandibular central is going to be facial as well. And so this indice has it split into 5 surfaces, so it's a little bit different from the plaque index we do in clinic, where it's doing off of 6. So down here at the bottom, it kind of shows where they split it. So they split it in a mesial and distal on both, rather as posterior or anterior. And then it shows the coronal third, middle third, and the cervical third, and same thing here. And so on this, you can't really tell how they're split. So we also have another sheet that we're going to go off of whenever we're filling it in.
Okay, so she just explained what PHP was, so now I'm going to talk about PHPM, the modified version. It's basically the same, it's just a little bit different. So instead of it being the maxillary right central incisor, it's going to be the maxillary left central incisor. This would be good for people who are missing the specific teeth that you need to do PHP. You could choose this instead and do a modified version. Then we're going to do the maxillary left, first premolar, maxillary right, second molar, or first molar, I'm sorry. And then for the mandible, we're going to do the maxillary or mandibular right central incisor, mandibular right first premolar, and mandibular left first molar. So, and it's the same thing goes facial surfaces for the maxillary, and then on the mandible we're looking at the lingual surfaces except for the central. Okay, so then what we also did is we drew this little diagram on the back that just, okay, so now Brooke is going to explain how to calculate it.
Okay, so for here, our equation, what it is so the surfaces are split in 5, so we're going to add up all the surfaces that have stain, and that's going to go here. So the minimum it can be is 0, the maximum amount can be 30, and then it's divided by the number of teeth, which is 6, because we're only doing 6 teeth, rather it's the PHP or the PHPM, because we use the same equation for either one. And then, so say it's 30, all their teeth have stains, all the surfaces do. So the maximum would be 30. You would divide that by 6, and whatever number you get is your score. And it's going to equal one of these numbers down here. More than likely, that would be the one that equals the 5.0, which would be poor. But that's what we're going to use our type it out for and see what it ends up equaling.
Okay.
And so for the PHP, what we did, because 2 of the teeth overlap, and it's our maxillary right first molar and our mandibular left first molar. So we have 2 different colors of Play-Doh on it, just so that way it's different. But the Play-Doh is stimulating where we have the biofilm after using disclosing solution, and it stains. And so for my maxillary right first molar, mine would be marked, it would be 1 surface, because the tooth is going to be split down where this side is the distal and this side is the mesial. And then we have the cervical third, the middle third here, and then the coronal third. So this one's right where it's only touching the cervical third. So that one would be a 1. So it's only covering the 1 surface. So on this side, it's just doing the cervical third.
Distal?
And then it's not on the distal.
So then it'd be here on the mesial.
This is just covering this.
Oh, I was looking at the orange, sorry.
No, you're fine.
Carry on.
And then on this tooth here, which is number 8, which is for the PHP, this one is covering the distal surface. And so that one's also only covering the 1 surface.
So
And And then moving over here, now we're on the maxillary left first molar, and this one's covering all three because it's extending from right here where it starts on the mesial. It goes all the way across the cervical, and then it's covering part of the distal as well.
So this one would be 3.
Yes.
Okay.
Then going down on the mandibular left first molar, this one we have the 2 colors again because it also includes the modified, but I'm just going to say the PHP one. So it's the dark pink Play-Doh, and that one does the same exact thing as the one before. It stretches all the way across, so it includes the mesial, the cervical third, and the distal.
Which one was that for? This one?
This one, yeah.
So that's 3.
And then doing my central here, this one is covering all 3 as well, and so it would be the same thing. It's got the mesial, the cervical third, and then the distal is on there too. And then for this one, it's covering the coronal third plus the mesial and the distal surface for this one.
So this is 3 as well.
And so that would be all these, and then we would add up on this sheet what we have.
So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14.
So it would be 14
Divided by 6. And whatever that equals. So then you get out your calculator if you're not good at quick math, like me.
So it's 2.3. So then on our chart, we can look here, and so 2.3 lands right in between the 1.8 and the 3.4. So this would be considered a fair patient performance for hygiene.
Okay. So now you basically do the same thing with the PHP modified. Like Brooke said, we simulated PHP modified with orange Play-Doh instead of the pink Play-Doh. So for the first tooth, I'm looking, it's only on the mesial aspect of the maxillary right first molar. Only on the mesial. Are you doing a different color?
Yes, I'm doing the blue.
Okay.
Maxillary right on the mesial.
Okay. And then we skip over and we have number 9. That's going to be on the cervical third. And it doesn't run into the mesial or the distal, so it's just 1. And then we've got the maxillary left first premolar, and I'm gonna go ahead and say that this is covering the mesial and the cervical third and the middle. Okay, so then we're gonna go down to the mandibular, and on the mandibular left first molar, it's on the middle third only of the tooth. And then we're gonna go to number 25, and it's on the cervical third of that tooth, so 1. And then that is all for that, and then we're going to go ahead and count that up.
And this one had 0.
Yeah, that one didn't have any.
So this would be 1, 2, 5, 6, 7.
7. So then we're going to go do
Yep.
7 divided by 6, and that is 1.1. So that would fall in between good. So this patient has good patient hygiene performance. And that is how you do our indice.